I hate to break it to you, but the popular Myers-Briggs Type Indicator test, or MBTI for short, the one with the four-letter result like ENTJ, is almost useless. It is the horoscope of people who like to think they're smart. It has at least three major flaws, ruling it out completely as a reliable tool. First, no methodology. The four facets of personality represented by each of the four assigned letters, as well as the questions that probe them, were not created by any rigorous scientific method. Like much, like much of early 20th century psychology it's based on, it originated from the author's perception, validated only by their experience, not data based empirical evidence. In practice, it's even been shown that the four facets measured aren't even independent from one another. The test gives different names to similar traits. Concepts born like this are, in the best of cases, happy accidents that end up bringing some value to people, but they can actually become harmful, even if just by being a waste of time while other better tools are available. 2. Inconsistent results. This is very obvious. If you take a personality test today, you'd think you'd get the same results if you took it again. After all, personality is considered to be fairly consistent during our lifetimes. With Myers Briggs, however, it's been shown that most people consistently get different results after retaking the test only a couple of weeks later. 3. Limited predictive power. If you categorize someone as being a X type, you'd expect them to act accordingly, reliably. But research has found weak correlation between test results with MBTI, if they even stay the same, and real world outcomes like academic success and job performance. And the test hasn't been able to provide actionable insights into people's preferences, abilities, talents, or potential. It doesn't help that the MBTI is, after all, a trademark, mostly a commercial product. It is intended primarily to generate profits, not to be a step in the direction of an evidence based truth. Most of the published material on the MBTI has been produced for the special conferences of the Center for Application of Psychological Type, which is funded by sales of the MBTI, or as papers in the Journal of Psychological Type, which is edited and supported by Myers Briggs advocates and by sales of the indicator. This should at least raise some eyebrows. Despite all that, it is still used by several companies as criteria for hiring, and it's used by innumerable people as a way to know themselves, one of the most important tasks we have in our time in this planet. But if you remember, I said it's almost useless, not completely. Why? Well, first of all, like astrological signs, it is fun. We all like personality tests, even weird ones like BuzzFeed's ones. And we all could use a little more fun in our lives, as long as we don't take it seriously. After all, you wouldn't think it was fair if you got fired based on a which sandwich are you that you took at work. Unless you got cucumber sandwich, of course. Second, one of the letters on the MBTI is actually extremely important if you know how to measure it scientifically, and possibly the most impactful aspects of our personalities on our day to day lives. The first letter, E or I, meaning extroversion or introversion. Contrary to popular understanding, this means basically how we respond to stimuli, if they energize or drain us. And of course, for a human, other people is the most stimulating thing there is. We can measure it more accurately using the most accepted model for personality, the Big Five, named after the five broad factors that can describe a person: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. The focus here is the continuum extroversion introversion. The other traits will be themes for other videos, so subscribe if you want to see them. We know and accept those factors instead of MBTIs because independent researchers arrived at them separately and using statistical analysis. In short, they analyzed thousands of responses to questionnaires and grouped together questions that always elicited the same responses from people. Thus, they arrived at those five traits that are largely not correlated with each other, but within themselves, and are capable of consistently describing someone as well as predicting real world behavior, performance, talents. And if you are an introvert, and if you're watching this, you probably are, it is especially important that you know your personality and what it means to your life. Knowing all your traits is important, but knowing how much stimulus you can take changes drastically how much energy you have, which in turn determines how well you interact with other people, pursue your goals, organize your days. Messing this up means, in short, messing up the most important things in your life. This is because since we introverts can't take much stimuli, especially in the form of human interaction, it means we have to carefully manage those interactions so that we don't waste energy on unimportant, low quality encounters. Anyone else here hates small talk? So we can laser focus on relationships and activities that actually give meaning to our lives. Since we live in an extroverted world, with approximately 70% of people leaning more to the extroverted side of the spectrum, our culture, our workplace, our loved ones' expectations are all biased towards being social, energetic, outgoing. But we are not like that, and that's okay. But while we can talk to people close to us to be better understood, out there in a cold, big world that doesn't care about anyone in particular, we must take precautions and be on our guard to protect our inner peace. It is our responsibility, no one else's. The first step is knowing who you are and understanding your needs. Then you can use strategies that are specific to you and your situation. Things that may have seemed weird may now become appealing, like taking time away in the middle of social events, school or work, to spend time alone, even staying a few minutes alone in a bathroom, as Susan Cain and Tim Ferriss discussed on his podcast. If getting away is hard, consider getting good headphones, noise canceling ones, which is one of the best things I ever bought, and disconnecting from your surroundings using them. Music, brown noise, nature sounds, ASMR, whatever works. Those may sound silly, but I guarantee that if you can't avoid living in a social world, they are way better than the constant noise around you. Also, be mindful of other stimuli: light, noise, distraction, notifications, messenger apps, and deal with them accordingly. You may also start to recognize and leverage introvert strengths, such as deep thinking, listening skills, and the ability to concentrate for extended periods, especially using those headphones. Use those strengths in activities that align with your interests and values, or even to avoid overstimulation. Knowing yourself, you can be in a better position to pursue work that is more suited to you, even within the same company that you are now, for instance. Say, instead of direct sales, you can switch to content creation or add data analysis. Instead of presenting results in a meeting, you can try to send a report or a pre made presentation. Working alone and asynchronous communication can be valuable tools. Prioritize real connections and deep relationships. Don't abandon completely small talk or festive social gatherings, but learn to manage your social battery, so to speak, so you can enjoy all of those while still maintaining your sanity. Take a day off of activities and interactions when needed, so you can come back fully recharged. It may seem contradictory, but people who are dispositionally introverted often report feeling more authentic and happier during the moments they act in extroverted ways. This type of inconsistent behavior may, after all, feel authentic because since we all have external objectives, often involving other people, acting in this way can bring us closer to those meaningful goals, such as pushing forward a business, getting a date, or being a good host. Acting extroverted then becomes like going to the gym. It demands effort up front, but the sensation when you are there and the results, those are worth it. The key is to accept yourself and to avoid comparisons with other people. Also, learning to manage our ever shifting threshold of stimulation and leveraging our amazing skills, talents, and capacity for love. Once you learn the amount of interaction with the outside that is right for you, you can present your best face to the world.